Hello, Sam.
Hello, Alasdair.
Welcome to another episode of Wholala. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty excited.
I'm feeling pretty excited too. I'm very good.
I'm really excited. I'm feeling a bit starstruck, actually. We've secured, as you'll see by this episode title, pretty much the most exciting guest. I'm sorry to all our other guests. We love you so much. But this is a genuinely thrilling guest to have on right before Christmas.
Exactly. I mean, we wanted to do a couple Christmassy episodes. As of time of recording, Christmas is a week away. As of time of posting, it's a few days away.
Just a week away.
Just a week away. So next week, we'll be talking about The Church from Ruby Road, the Doctor Who 2023 Christmas special. Can you believe Christmas specials are back?
I am so glad they're back. I saw our good friend of the pod, Beth. She said, I'm so glad they're back. They're such a comfort for people, especially, I think, people who find Christmas a difficult time of year. Doctor Who is such a comfort on TV on Christmas Day. And I agree. I feel like it's not a comfort you need so much on New Year's, but on Christmas Day, it's a lovely part of the tradition, a lovely part of the routine.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, like growing up watching the show, there was such a special thing as a kid for, you wake up and you have your presents and then your family come around or you go to theirs, you have your dinner, and then Christmas always kind of winds down, I think, after that. And I always used to be like, yeah, but we've got Doctor Who on. We've got Doctor Who coming.
Exactly. It keeps the day going. If Doctor Who isn't on in the evening, the day is over by 4 o'clock. Yeah. Doctor Who keeps Christmas Day alive for a bit longer.
It does. And so next week we'll be talking about our thoughts on The Church from Ruby Road. But I can't believe we have the guest that we have on this episode, especially before that episode.
Oh my goodness. So, but at this point, many of you, if not all of you, will be aware of the Goblin Song.
Yeah.
It's a charity single for children in need, released, I believe, 2 weeks ago now, by the BBC, Murray Gold, as a Christmas charity single. I don't know if they ever said it was an attempt for number one, but it's an attempt for number one.
And as all of you listening will be well aware, there's one goblin that has taken the internet by storm.
Oh my God. This goblin, I couldn't even say what some of the names are that we've had for this goblin, because we're going to probably have quite a few people tune into this one, and I want to keep it a family show today. But the names we came up for this goblin were so funny. Yeah, this is Janis Goblin, who is the singer of the Goblin Song. And the Goblin Song forms an important part of the Doctor Who Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road. And they've already released the scene that features the Goblin Song in its entirety. It's a bop, by the way.
It's a real bop, and you're not going to be able to get it out of your head. The far reach this song has had. I've had friends tell me that their friends who aren't Doctor Who fans, grandmother in Germany is messaging them about this Goblin Song. Like, the reach that this has is insane.
It's global. It's gone global, baby.
It's global, mama. Well, look, I think, teasing aside, I think it's time to introduce today's guest.
I think it is. We've got a true Christmas treat in store today. We can't believe this. We are joined by a talented musician and session vocalist with an incredible discography, both solo and in her band Adeline.
Yes, you may know her voice, however, from a little-known track that is now completely viral, called The Goblin Song. So please give us a warm hoola welcome to the voice of Janis Goblin herself, Christina Rotondo.
Woo! Crowd goes, woo! Oh my gosh.
They do. You can just hear the claps around the world.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so exciting to be here. Oh my gosh.
Oh, stop. Thank you for being here. It's an unreal pleasure. I mean, I was half joking when I said to Sam, like, oh, could we reach out to Christina and just see if she's interested?
Shall we send her a DM? Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we can have the Goblin Queen on our Christmas episode.
Oh
it would just be the best thing.
It's so excited. I was messaging Alistair just before. I was like, do you think this is okay? Like, I'd like draft out the message. I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. And
what are they going to do? Stop me? That's all I can think of.
They'd have to catch me first. I'm not going to whip it. But we were thrilled when you said that you were available, because honestly, I mean, as no secret to yourself, the Goblin Queen, Janis Goblin, has gone insane on social media.
It has gone mad, hasn't it? It's a bit unexpected.
Yeah. How is everything at the minute? All this, I mean, you've got your normal work to get on with, and then amongst that, you've got chart climbing success.
I know. Who is she? I just feel like, yeah, it's very different from normal life, but yeah, it's, to be fair, it's come at a really nice time. And I feel like the world is like giving me a bit of a break because it's been a really stressful few weeks. And now obviously we're winding down to Christmas and there's just been a lot of like love and support. So it's really nice to have it at this time because I think like 3 weeks ago, Christina would have been in an absolute panic, but it's just kind of worked out quite nicely. And I mean, I had no idea when the song was coming out. So I was a bit like, you know, it just kind of landed on me, but it's been so lovely.
The stars aligned.
Oh, bless you. Did you get a heads up at all, or was it literally just like, here it is?
I think I got a message probably about like a week before, but I wasn't told exactly when it was dropping. I just kind of knew that it was coming soon. And it actually happened whilst I was away. So I was just like on my phone, like, and I mean, I made that TikTok that I initially did, like in my car, like it took me like 2 minutes and I was like, I'm just going to quickly post this. And then from there, it just blew up.
As it should.
As it should. That was the first time that I saw you on social media because I saw you reacting to it. And I'd already seen loads of other people reacting. And I suddenly was like, I was starstruck. I was like, oh my God, that's the Goblin Queen herself.
Yeah, I literally just did it in the car really quickly.
I love that. It took off so fast. I was at work when they put out this kind of like press release about the Goblin Song, which was in itself didn't almost like read as a real thing. It sounded like a joke. And obviously because it's children in need as well, it's got, you know, it's a funny press release and it's got funny little statements in there from like Murray Goldman people as well. But the fan reception was so immediate. I've never seen like, you know, because we're obviously quite ingrained in sort of the Doctor Who online sphere, but I've never seen anything get like embraced that quick that everyone just decided this is our thing now. We're going to rally around the Goblin Song and the Goblin Queen before we've even heard it, by the way. They were just like, people were picking out their favourite goblins from the cover art right away.
I mean, I guess that's my question. Like, you know, is this what it's like normally? I mean, the fans seem to be very, you know, like tight-knit and everything.
I haven't seen, obviously we've just had the 60th anniversary and that has come with a lot of like ramping up, I think, from Who fans because, you know, David Tennant and Catherine Tate back, they've had like thing after thing after thing. But I mean this, like, I can't remember the last time that an original character was announced and so, if ever, and so quickly had so much. I mean, did you see people were editing Janis Goblin onto like Time Person of the Year and things like that?
No, I didn't. I need to see that now.
Oh, we will send it to you. It's so like honestly,
Oh
the
my gosh.
embrace has been as it should be, thick and fast.
I mean, do you know what I said from day one? Like, I mean, obviously, like I kind of said in my TikTok, I knew people liked Doctor Who, but I didn't know they liked it this much. But I guess like ultimately, like when I recorded it, I thought, okay, Doctor Who is pretty big. That's like really cool, like ooh, a little personal achievement. But I guess I kind of just thought that people would listen to the song and they would like take in Doctor Who as a whole and be excited about it. But actually the fact that people have like really clung on to this one character and that character happens to be sung by me is just so funny and fabulous and silly. I love it. Like, I just love how silly it is.
It's so silly. That's the thing. I think if nothing else, Doctor Who fans, intense as they are, I think recognise how silly the show is, and I think love it in all of its silliness and campness as well. We had people saying like right away, like, oh, that's Mother Goblin. They were like, that's the main pop girly. That diva, I know a diva when I see one. People saying like Janis Goblin, she's gonna eat up the competition and their children at Eurovision next year. We'll have to send you a breakdown of some of these memes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As Sam said, like, pretty intense. I think what was exciting about this as well is we've not had like music with lyrics in Doctor Who for a really long time. The last time they did anything like that, there was one song,
Angel Put the Devil in Me. I think that might have been since then, but that was the last big one, and that was, I think, 2007, and that was iconic at the time.
Oh, wow.
So I think there being like a musical spin on Doctor Who, like a full 3-minute song, is in itself quite thrilling.
I know that part of the discourse is people are quite confused at the fact that the vocals are very like, they're very human, they're very clean. I've seen a couple of comments on that and I was like, do you know what? Like that's like, I think people are like, oh, why wasn't it more of like a distorted kind of voice? And actually, like, I mean, from when I got the brief, they were very specific on what they wanted. They wanted a powerful, strong female vocal. I can't quite remember what the original message said, but I remember they kind of referenced, because obviously I've got loads of samples online and stuff, and they were like, you know, we really like the power in your voice. So they definitely had an idea of what they wanted. And I, with the lyrics and stuff, I kind of remember being like, how is this going to be used? I didn't know if it was going to be distorted or, you know, just like mine. But it was definitely intentional.
The bit where the power in your voice comes through that I love. And it's funny for me, actually, how much I've come around to the Goblin Song. When, I'll be honest, when they teased the Goblin Song, I was nervous. I was like, I don't know if this is going to... And then the more I listen, I've never had this with music. Normally with music, it's first listen, I'm like, yeah, I like this. But I've come around to it so quick. It's Baby We Feed, Baby We Need. I scream that on the daily now. And also something Brown Eyes Caramelize. I scream that all the time.
Oh, it's so good.
I love the bit it says the baby butter for the baby scones. And
I love that.
It's so... There's just something so camp and, like you said, silly about it. We were at a viewing party. We had some friends around watching the episode when they teased the clip of the song, and the like vibe in the room when they said there was about to be a clip of the Goblin Song. I've never seen a group of like 20, 30 somethings all be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, the Goblin Song.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh.
It was so funny. But I'd love to hear more about how the opportunity arose for you, because obviously, like we were saying, you've got a huge career both with yourself as a solo artist and with your band. How did the opportunity to become Janis Goblin come up?
The way I remember this is a bit hazy. So I've spoken to my partner about this, and initially I thought that I was told what it was for, but I didn't quite believe that it was real. But he thinks, because this happened back in the summer, so back in like July-ish time, and I know that because I was talking to my guitarist about it. I also do weddings and stuff like that, so I was talking to him about it, and I was like, oh, you know, like I've had this really strange request come in, and you know, I don't know if it's real. And we were like, nah, like there's no way. And you know, a lot of the time you get people who maybe like write for like pitching and things like that. So I kind of thought maybe they might want to pitch it for something. But I assume a lot of the details were held back because of like confidentiality around it and things like that. But I was essentially contacted, and I can't quite remember whether or not I was told it was for Doctor Who at the beginning, but I think I may have just been told to sing like a crazy Goblin song, and then I was told it was for Doctor Who later down the line. So I think that's the version of it that's correct. But I remember kind of like reading the lyrics being like, this is very confusing. Like, what is this going to be used for? And because of the content of the lyrics, I was like, how can this be used commercially? Because it's so strange. But it kind of started off with like a sample. You know, they were like, oh, we want you to give this a shot. Like, let's see what your vocals sound like. And actually, the original song was actually like a much higher key.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of stepped in and said, you know, like I can sing this, but I think the key needs to be shifted, because like my kind of motto as a singer, a lot of people basically hire me because I do have like quite a high range, and they're like, yeah, we want that power. That's great. And my kind of motto is always, just because it can be sung that high, it doesn't mean that it should. So my kind of motto is like, you know, tone and performance over how high you can get in a song. So I kind of said, you know, why don't we try changing the key? So we kind of messed around a bit, did a couple of samples, bounced some ideas back and forth, and then like it kind of went from there. I basically assumed that they liked what they heard. And with stuff like this as well, with session stuff, like, you know, you're not always told what it's for, who's using it. And so you kind of just do the work, and it kind of just goes out there and you wait to hear back. And I didn't hear anything for a while, so I kind of thought, oh, you know, maybe it wasn't quite right. Because there was the idea of potentially going to London to record the vocals, and I never heard back, so I thought maybe it just, you know, wasn't meant to be. But they ended up using the vocals that were recorded in my very studio. So
really?
Wow.
I did it. I did it remote, and they must have liked it because they kind of came back, and then we did verse 2, and then we were adding bits to it and bouncing ideas back and forth, and
amazing.
Oh my god. So now we know that Russell T Davies actually wrote the lyrics for this song. At that point, was that also a mystery to you, that you just got like a bit of these lyrics through?
Honestly, it was a mystery until probably about a week ago. I only spoke to him after the song got released, and I actually slid into his DMs and I was like, hey, thank you for the amazing opportunity. And that's when he must have got the message, and he changed the caption on Instagram, which was really cool, really nice of him to do.
Oh, bless him.
So I actually kind of had my first chat with him recently, and he was super lovely.
So funny.
So yeah.
Oh my God. And now a smash hit.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that sounds like it must be such a different process from your normal work, because I'm assuming you must, when you're building a song or something, you working directly with the people who are the creatives in that department, or if you're going to work for another project, maybe not Doctor Who, I can imagine this must have felt like quite a different process where like a lot is being kept from you and you're being kind of drip fed information, and then obviously like right when it's coming out, that's when it's all sort of coming to you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like when you know what something's for and when it's for something that's quite big, there's a lot of pressure. So in a way, it's probably quite good that was kept from me, because I just performed as my true authentic self. Like the only real brief that I had was Powerful, and I was like, great, I can do that. Whereas sometimes you get briefs and they're really specific, like, no vibrato here, don't do this, don't do that. And it kind of strips away everything that you know, and then you end up kind of performing not how you normally would. So it was quite nice to do that. But in reality, I actually, my main thing is mainly session work, where I get given the lyrics and the instrumental and I kind of do my thing. It's kind of like nice in hindsight that I guess in theory I must have had some input on the key. Like when I do work with clients, I always kind of my other motto or my other saying is basically like, do what's best for the song. So, where I did give that input on, maybe we should change this key kind of thing. It's nice to kind of know that my creative input was heard there. So that's really cool from like a singing kind of standpoint, because they must have been like, yeah, actually that other key is better for her. But in terms of the way that it works for like other session things, like it's quite regular, I guess, kind of process to do that singing thing where I just literally deliver the vocals. I do songwriting for clients, but like you say, yeah, it's a totally different kind of way that's set up. And when I do songwriting for clients, I have a very specific way that I like to kind of handle and manage expectations. But as you can imagine, it's a lot more collaborative, because when you're writing for someone, you don't just want to write a song and be like, right, it's written, here you go. I kind of like to do lots of check-ins and lots of, oh, what about this? And shall we try this? And what about this melody? If you want to change this lyric, and some people get really hands-on with it, and some people just want to leave it to me. But yeah, they're totally different kind of ways of doing session vocals. Some people like to have loads of input. Some people are just like, leave it to you.
Something they haven't done for a long time is the Doctor Who proms. I don't know if you're aware of these, but back in the noughties, they used to do kind of big Royal Albert Hall performances of the Doctor Who soundtracks.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't it be great if they brought it back? Would you come and sing as Janis Goblin?
Okay, right. I don't mean to be dramatic here, but I have had so many like scenarios in my head about me like singing the song live, because it's so fun to sing and it's so punchy that like I'm just like, give me an opportunity to get on stage and sing my sass of Janis Goblin and I'll be there. So anyone.
I know, I can just see in my head, like you, because you're in Doctor Who world now, you can survive on Comic-Con money for the rest of your life. But I can see like some kind of like Comic-Con having like a main stage event, and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, the voice of Janis Goblin, Christina. And you come on and just do the whole bit like in like a Goblin style. Oh, I can just see it now. That would be amazing.
Should I get like a curly, like blonde wig? Because I can totally do that.
Yes, my answer is yes.
Please get the whole dress.
Yeah, honestly, it's such a fun song to sing that like I would love to sing it.
So how long did you have to keep the song a secret then? So it was recording somewhere in the summer, and there's a long period, I guess, then of not knowing 100% whether it's going to be used, and only a couple of weeks ago finding out that Russell T Davies had written the words you were singing.
Yeah, so basically I recorded it probably somewhere between June and maybe July and August, and it only got released first week of December, I believe, or second week of December. So all of that time, I mean, I actually remember Googling Doctor Who Goblin Song around about like, must have been like October time or something. And I was like, no, this isn't, there's nothing on, obviously there was nothing online because it wasn't announced yet. And I was like, maybe it's just not a thing. And then I randomly got a message, like a month later, I'd gone out for dinner and I randomly got a ping from the person who had hired me, and they were like, yeah, they're going to use it as a charity single. And I was like, oh, it's real. And they were like, yeah, we'll be in touch about usage rights. And I was like, okay. Again, like put it to the back of my mind. And then by the time I had gone round to Google it again, it had literally, I think that day or the day before, been announced. So obviously all the articles were showing up and I was like, oh, it's real. Oh my gosh.
It's real.
It's real. It's real.
I mean, I remember when, even before they'd announced the Goblin Song, when they had just announced that, I think in the Christmas special, obviously we're recording this and the episode's come out before Christmas, so we won't go into like any details, but they've announced that obviously the Goblins are going to be in it and that Davina McCall is going to be in it. And everyone just kind of lost their minds trying to piece together the plot of like, okay, so we know that there's going to be Goblins, we know there's Davina McCall. And then when they finally released the Goblin Song, I don't think anyone was quite prepared for how much it was going to be about eating babies.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
I mean, the lyrics are something special. I remember kind of reading the lyrics and being like, even if this is for what they say this is about, how would this ever get played like on national television when I'm singing about like seasoning a baby? Like, I just didn't understand it. And then after I watched the video of like seeing this baby on a conveyor belt, I'm like, yeah, it makes so much sense now.
I get it now.
I can't wait to like sit down with like my grandparents on Christmas Day and who don't watch Doctor Who and be like, you've got to watch this. You've got to watch. And then
just
there'll be,
wait.
Just you wait. Christmas Day viewing, they'll be on a pirate ship in the sky, conveyor belt baby. It's going to be so good.
The Ofcom complaints at 6:30 p.m. on Christmas Day for this baby on a conveyor belt heading towards the Goblin mouth are going to be through the roof. And I can't wait.
I was going to say, I can't wait.
We're ready to defend it. I can't wait.
So obviously we've lightly touched on it. When they released the cover art for the Goblin Song, and it has the 5 goblins with obviously Janis in the middle, and the immediacy that the queer community kind of took hold of this goblin and they said, she's ours now. She's ours. And like Alistair was listing on it, she's mother, she's diva. Diva, may I call you diva? How did it feel for you getting that kind of immediate reaction for, like you said, a character, and not just the goblins as a concept of the song, but specifically for the character you're voicing the vocals for?
It felt really like warm and fuzzy is the best way I can describe it, because I mean, I was speaking to a friend and I said this earlier, but like, I mean, I've done a lot of YouTube content. It's kind of how I started my career in music. I just kind of was like, I'm going to sing songs that I like. And I've had much more negative kind of comments from fans of like, you know, much smaller bands or much more niche bands than something that would be on like national television that like millions potentially of people might hear or see. And yet with that, you expect, obviously, you know, the bigger the audience, the more opinions, and that's absolutely fine. But actually, you know, I would say like genuinely like 99% of it has been so lovely that it's been such a nice change. And so like, you know, as well with there being that kind of like additional of like it being the queer community who are always just so fabulous and welcoming and lovely, like as a collective, like, you know, it's just felt so nice because it just feels like really welcoming. It's so lovely. Like it's different from what anything else I've experienced, and yet it's such a nice welcoming into this whole other realm of the internet that I haven't discovered yet.
Oh, I'm really glad.
You're in it now. You're in it now.
Yeah, that's it. I'm here now, you know, just camping out. So that's fine.
You're part of the Hooniverse forever. You're never getting back out.
That's absolutely fine.
And I think, listen, I think we can all agree there's too many charts. Me and Sam were before this, we're like, wait, we need to actually understand the charts. And then we were like, we don't understand the charts. And we won't try to understand the charts. But we can all agree the Goblin Song is clearly a smash hit and it's doing really well in the sales charts, which seem to be part of what dictates what the Christmas number one is, I think, is the sales charts. We're not sure. We don't understand.
As far as much as I understand it as a vocalist, in easy terms, I think basically the UK Top 40 used to be like one thing because streaming wasn't that prominent, or it used to be something that was never taken into consideration. And then because streams are just crazy now, like billions and billions of streams, and everyone primarily streams music, I think it's been split basically. But when you kind of look at it, like, I mean, at the end of the day, the aim of the game here is for people to buy the single so that it can, the proceeds of 99p a single can go to the charity. So, you know, it's so cool that it's charting in the singles chart because people don't buy music anymore. They don't buy physical copies. So that's awesome.
This is exactly it. And it's just so amazing. I think the timing as well of it being Christmas is that we're all keeping our fingers crossed, Christmas #1, but then also charity single for Christmas #1. It just makes me think of like Band-Aid and stuff like that. And I'm like, that must just be amazing to be a part of, fingers crossed, like a charting Christmas song for charity. Like that just feels so amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, like it's something so cool to be a part of. And, you know, like, you know, I only found out recently. So when they were like, oh yeah, we're going to pop it as a charity single, I was like, that's so nice. And, you know, it's just such a nice thing to come out of such a silly song. And how could you possibly see any negative in that? Like it all goes to a good cause, and it's just so nice.
And I think a sale is such a declaration of saying that you really back something as well, you know, even if it's for charity, because, you know, streaming is in a way quite a passive thing compared to actually going out of your way to, I mean, for a start, you've got to download the iTunes app. That's a whole other step. And then you've got to connect your card. And it's so cool. I mean, number 12 is also really high. I mean, you're beating a lot of big classic Christmas songs at the minute as well with this one. It's just wild. How does it feel to be sort of part of Christmas history as well?
Do you know what? Like, I never expected any of it, so I kind of like feel like I'm in a bit of a Doctor Who bubble at the moment. It's so funny because like it's kind of almost like my brain is like not really registering it because I'm weirdly cool about it, and I'm not a cool person. Like I will lose it at any opportunity. Like I'm very over the top and everything, but it's kind of nice in a way because everything just kind of feels quite calm. And I think it's because, you know, like I am really passionate about singing, and this is kind of like a lot of my identity and what I like to do, and the fact that everyone's being so nice about it and so supportive, like it just feels very homely, which is really sweet.
I'm really glad.
Well, obviously we very much live in like an online world. How would the people, you know, the people who knew you before you were Janis, like how's the reaction been with family and friends?
Do you know what? It's so funny because I don't think my parents actually understand it. Because my mum's kind of like, cool. And I'm like, yeah, okay, great. And like, I know that she likes to like tell people that I'm a singer, but I don't think she really understands what I do. Whereas my partner's parents, they are really into Doctor Who, so honestly, bless them. Like every time I go on Facebook, they've done like a new post. It's quite funny actually. People probably think I'm just like on a crazy like showreel thing at the moment, because on my social media and stuff, I posted basically a couple of other like cool work things that I did where I got back a couple of showreel things for like a couple of other brands, and like, I mean, they're big brands, but like it's not Doctor Who. And so like I was kind of posting about them anyway, and people were like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then the Doctor Who thing came out, and I was like, oh my God, I'm really blowing my own trumpet at the moment. But everyone's been like so nice.
Take your moment.
Yeah, everyone's been like super cool. I've had loads of messages from friends kind of just being like, wow, that's insane. And like a few friends that I didn't know that were really into Doctor Who, they're like, oh my God, like they're messaging me all the time. They're like, I just heard you on the radio. It's insane. And I'm like, like, please. I mean, I'm trying to get in my car so I can like, you know, record the radio, and I'm like, I want to hear what's going on. So.
I was going to ask you, did you hear Shooty Gatwa's reaction to it being played on Radio 1?
Yeah, I saw a clip of it on Twitter. I'm going to try and tune in and see what I can listen to.
The reach this Goblin has had, like we have a friend of the pod who works at ABBA Voyage, and they keep sending us photos of Janis edited onto the ABBA Voyage stage. Like I'm seeing this Janis Goblin world tour in my head. That's what I'm seeing.
I can see it happening.
Honestly, grab me a Janis Goblin suit and I will just be there. Do you know what I imagine? Like, you know, the Masked Singer. Like, I think we need like a Janis Goblin, and then I need to be singing it, and then just like at the end whip off like my head. Oh my God, it's me!
Exactly.
What's going to be great as well is Christmas Day, you get to sit down merry and full of Christmas dinner and actually hear your own song in the context of a full episode of television, like prime time Christmas Day viewing.
Yeah, a couple of people have kind of said, like, you know, there's loads of hype at the moment, but they're like, actually, like, even if it dies down, like, it's like, you know, Christmas Day has not happened yet. Like, this is pre-Christmas. And so, it's funny because I kind of like, the other day I was kind of like, oh, you know, I think it's kind of dying down on socials a little bit. And then like I put my phone down for all of 5 minutes, and then before I knew it, Twitter was exploding in my hands. So it just kind of keeps to see, like, it seems to just keep going, like every time, you know, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do?
Long may it continue.
Long may the Goblin Queen live. I was going to ask, did you coin the phrase Goblin Queen? Because this is fully how as if it's on her birth certificate herself, this is how I address your character.
No, I mean, I am just going with what the people tell me, you know. So
She's the Goblin Queen.
I just I mean, I think I saw probably someone post about it on Twitter or TikTok. I just saw a lot of comments that were like Goblin Queen, and I was like, okay,
Sure.
I'll take the title of mother. You know, you are my goblin children.
Yes,
we'll go with it.
mother,
So,
yes.
and then I had to change the Twitter username. My friend was like, "You need to change your Twitter to the real Janis Goblin."
Yes.
And I was like, "Done."
Yes.
Normally at this kind of time of year, I would change it to like Christmas Tina, but I think the real Janis
The real
Goblin,
Janis Goblin.
takes centre stage.
I think if when you change it back, it's going to be like brackets, the real Janis Goblin.
Yeah,
For the next year
it
or
is,
so.
isn't it? Yeah.
This is going to be with you for life in all the best ways.
Honestly, yeah, I love that. Like, I'm so ready to kind of keep this.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fun. Like, it's so fun.
Well, it'll be so cute. Like you said, I'm sure, I don't know what your Christmas plans are, but I'm sure you'll at some point get to watch it with your partner's family and watching it like with Doctor Who fans as well. There's the whole other layer of they're just
Yes.
enjoying it as the show itself. And then, like we were saying, your voice comes on primetime TV, Christmas Day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see like everything in context because I mean, obviously, like I'm kind of like a small part of it really. So I've seen some things online about like there being an extraverse with other people, and yeah, like I'm excited to see all of it in context and just see how it all plays out. Like, it's so funny.
This is the thing. You'll get to watch it. It must be nice because, like, obviously we were talking about just before recording, you aren't really like in Doctor Who world, certainly not in the same way that we are. And so you'll get to watch this as like a viewer of the episode, having be you know, I think certainly on social media at the moment, the biggest part of it. But it's Doctor Who is such a big show that you'll then get to like see yourself in this whole world. And like, how does that feel for you as a viewer?
I think it'll be a nice introduction. I think it's probably going to start like we say, like a little bit of a snowball of like, you know, diving deep into the Doctor Who world. Like, you know, I never really kind of grew up with like Doctor Who stuff around. Like, it was never something that was on TV for me. It's not something that my parents you know, watched, so it's actually probably quite a really nice introduction into it, and I'm so ready to embrace it. Like, I mean, it seems so fun. I mean, you know, like we kind of only watch and kind of take in what, you know, we kind of get introduced to as childhood, and I've just never really been around anyone you know that watches it. So actually it's quite nice that, you know, this is kind of like my first introduction to it, because it's like some of the comments I've seen online, and like this is like just the wackiest way, because I remember like being like, how on earth is this going to be used in Doctor Who? And yet some of the comments are like, there's like a divide on the internet of some people being like, this is not Doctor Who, and the other 50% are like, no, this is everything to do with Doctor Who. So it's going to be really cool to kind of like understand where those comments come from, and I'm so ready to see the silliness of it all.
Can you imagine your first introduction to Doctor Who being like, oh, because I'm in that one, I should probably watch it. I'll start there.
Oh, it's just, you know, sorry guys, do you want to watch
Do
this?
you want
with
to
me,
watch it? I think I'm in it
actually?
tonight.
I would say you'd want to like try and bring friends in and not tell them and then just have it play, but I don't think you like people.
I don't think,
you can't escape
no,
it. People
yeah.
who aren't in Doctor Who world. I've got my mum messaging me and she's like, "What's going on with these goblins then?" Like,
Yeah, honestly, it's everywhere.
I love it.
this is the time to jump on. I mean, the show. The thing about the show that I love is that it's always evolving. I get frustrated when I hear people go like, "Oh, this is Doctor Who and this isn't Doctor Who," and whatever, because by nature of the show, it regenerates and it changes and it's always ever growing. And this, perfect for you, even as a viewer, is the right time to jump on, because we're now going into this whole new Whoniverse era with Russell leading the show and Ncuti as the Doctor. And so, just it's fortuitous you're in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You are here for the start of a new era. It's genuinely very exciting. You've come on at a great time.
I'm so excited.
Welcome. No, but it's super exciting. Have you got any other little Christmas traditions to warm up for the season, to get in the festive spirit? Are you planning anything nice?
So do you know what? Because obviously I am a performer, I do live shows and stuff. Usually a lot of Christmas time, you either get really quiet Christmas or you get really busy ones. So I've already done like loads of Christmas gigs. So I kind of made sure to take time out to do like little Christmas things, because I'm a huge Christmas lover.
Yeah.
So like I've been to like Christmas markets, and I've, you know, made little like clay decorations and things like that, and had like a little friend Christmas already. So just things to kind of like get into the spirit and festivities of Christmas, things like that. But yeah, just kind of, you know, I think like as adults, the older you get, like it gets so busy and so hectic, and I very much like to keep that little sparkle alive.
Very,
so
very.
Yeah, and then just taking some time off to kind of, regenerate and then get back into singing for 2024.
Well, I was going to ask, because obviously this will be an introduction to you for so many listeners. What is 2024 looking for you work-wise? What kind of things do you see yourself doing?
Oh, that's a hard one, To be honest, I don't really know. I used to do a lot of online content, and because session work just got so busy, it's kind of something that has fallen off. So I do plan to kind of keep going with that a little bit more. I thought 2024 would be a great chance to have a clean slate. My band has released our first EP. We're just a little 2-piece, and we've always kind of written music on, and we've only got 2 singles out already, but we kind of always wrote music in the way that we didn't want it to be a forced kind of time crunch kind of thing. It was always on our terms, just making music because we enjoy it and we like doing it, and then it gets released when we're able to. So it's nice to kind of start 2024 with some fresh original music, but kind of just more of what I've been doing. But to be honest, I'm really excited to see where the whole Doctor Who kind of thing takes me. I'd definitely love to do more kind of TV, television, film work. I mean, that's always super fun to do, and I'm kind of hoping that through meeting some really great people, then I can hopefully do some more of that stuff, really.
I could definitely see that. I mean, I feel like there's been sort of a trend. I mean, there's always been a trend of having musicals in media outside of a traditional musical, but I feel like in the last 10 years especially, there's been so much of shows CW shows and Doctor Who and things like that having the musical episode, be it with voiceover work in a similar way with this show, or I'm thinking of Supergirl or The Flash or something, Darren Criss and you in person being a part of the musical episode. I could definitely see that in the future for you, and I think that hopefully Janis is kicking down that door with a little goblin foot and going to open the opportunities for you. I really hope that for you.
She's changing the industry.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with music, and something that obviously as a singer I always notice, is that music is literally in everything. There's a song in everything we consume on media. So, I mean, my kind of aim is just to kind of do more of that, get my voice out there. So opportunities like this is hopefully stuff that helps me do that. So yeah, it's kind of just hoping that someone hears my voice and is like, oh, who is Janis? I need that voice.
Yes. And if people are asking who is Janis and where can people find you? Where can we get?
So I actually redid my my website because I had so many people clicking on my website that my website was like, hey, you've had a huge influx of traffic. So you can find links and show reels and all things like that on my website, which is ChristinaRotondo.com. I mean, I post a lot on Instagram, which is at ChristinaRTND, and the same with all my other social channels, really. So on Twitter at ChristinaRTND, TikTok is at ChristinaRTND, and I kind of just post a lot of the same content. It's primarily music and singing with, all the stuff that I do in between and behind, so lifestyle-y stuff, just the behind the scenes of a singer, basically, whether that's doing live gigs and stuff like that. So yeah.
I love it.
Well, honestly, I mean, as we've said before, we can't thank you enough for coming on to Wholala. We, along with all the rest of the world, saw Janis.
Yeah.
We fell in love with her, and we hope that everyone falls in love with you as much as they have her.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. No, thank you for asking me to come on. It's been super, super fun.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Honestly, such a pleasure. We appreciate your time so much, and I'm truly going to go and stream the Goblin Song right off the back of this.
On repeat.
I'm so serious.
Exactly. No, we're going to buy it.
So
That's what we're doing. We're going to log on to the iTunes store. We're going to put your card on there, and we're going to buy it so the money goes to
yes, we're going to buy it.
Yes.
We're going to get it to Christmas #1, even if it's just you and I.
Yeah.
Oh, we're pushing. We're pushing it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Christina, I hope you have the most amazing Christmas. Thank you for bringing so much joy to our Christmas, for sure. Honestly, it's brightened up our December. It's such a laugh, such a good song, genuinely gorgeous vocals as well, and it's just been so much fun to chat to you.
Yeah, it's been super fun. Thank you for having me.
No,
You're
thank
so
you for
welcome.
coming. Thank you so much for being with us, Christina. And thank you, dear listener, for listening to another episode of Wholala. If you enjoyed, please reach out and let us know. You can find us on all of our social media, the app formerly known as Twitter, now X, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, all of which are at Wholala Pod. And you can also rewatch old episodes of the podcast on our YouTube channel, also at Wholala Pod.
Yes, and if you enjoyed today's episode, you'll love everything else that we do at Wholala Pod. We talk about new Doctor Who, old Doctor Who, camp moments in Who history. We put our fun, fruity twist on the whole thing and don't take anything too seriously. It's a nice, fun space for two besties to chat all things Doctor Who every week. So do follow us on wherever you're listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and the rest. And if you really liked today's episode, please do consider leaving a review.
Thank you so much. Well, we will see you next week when we'll be talking about this year's Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road.
We are so excited for it. We are putting aside time on Boxing Day to sit together and record. So, yeah, we're really excited to get into that one. And until then, dear lovely listener, have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you, Christina, and we will see you next week.
Bye.